Facebook, this is the company I call the easiest money in the entire stock market. Right now, Facebook is trading at a forward P of under 21. And to that, I say, are you kidding me? You must be joking me. A forward P on Facebook with the type of growth this company has, that is almost laughable. This is the easiest money in the stock market by far out there. It takes a cake over everything else, guys. Let's go through some of these numbers here at Facebook, okay? This is daily active users number. Now, this is just a Facebook platform, okay? This has nothing to do with Instagram. This has nothing to do with WhatsApp or Oculus or anything like that, okay? This is just Facebook numbers. Daily active users of Facebook of nearly 1.5 billion in the last quarter, all right? Monthly active users of over 2.2 billion just on Facebook, okay? Once again, these numbers do not take into account Instagram or WhatsApp or any of those massive platforms, which Instagram, you know, is the one that's the hottest right now by far of any social platform out there, okay? It's Instagram, that's where everybody's at. That's the cool platform, okay? So those are amazing numbers for the old legacy model of Facebook. They're still putting up amazing numbers, okay? If we look at revenue here, okay, revenue is off the charts. They did $13.2 billion in revenue for this past quarter versus they did just over $9 billion the previous year in the same quarter, okay? Now, keep in mind, this is while a quarter in which executive management wasn't even really focused on the business that much. They were so focused on this Cambridge Analytica stuff that came out during the quarter. They were focused, you know, Mark Zuckerberg had to go to Capitol Hill. Like executive management really wasn't focused on revenue or profits or any of that stuff this past quarter. They were totally focused on this whole, you know, thing that took over the company and took over all the attention. Cambridge Analytica, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with our business? That's where management's focus was, and they still were able to grow revenue at that type of clip. When executive management can be unfocused on something like that and still grow revenue, that is off the charts, guys. Average revenue per user is unbelievable, okay? But this is where a lot of growth still has to come with the company, okay? So average revenue per user in the US and Canada for this past quarter came in around $26, all right? Where I see that going long term is in the US and Canada. I see this going to a $40 to $60 clip in the US and Canada long term, like looking at it from the next 3 to 5 years, all right? Worldwide, right now, if you take the whole world into account, we're at around $6, okay, just under $6. I see that being well over $10 long term, $10 to $15 range, somewhere in there within 3 to 5 years. Europe should be able to grow to somewhere close to where US and Canada is currently, if we're looking at it from 3 to 5 year perspective. Whereas right now, Europe's around, you know, a little less than $9. 3 to 5 years from now, it should easily be somewhere around where US and Canada is currently, which is around that $25 range. Asia Pacific, that should be able to grow to over $10 average revenue per user, and rest of the world should be able to grow to about $6 to $8, I estimate. So there's going to be a why is this? Why is average revenue per user going to go up massively? Okay. One is there are going to be more ads as time goes on. The second part is mainly just because there's they have the attention, okay? Facebook, Instagram, all those platforms, they have the attention, they have the people's attention. There's a massive amount of money that's going to flood in from the sidelines, okay? Money that right now is spent on television advertising and radio advertising and newspapers still and like all this ridiculous stuff where people aren't even paying attention, television being the main part. That money over the next 3 to 5 years is going to move like a tsunami. Move like a tsunami into Facebook's pockets, okay? Google as well, but Facebook is going to be one of the primary beneficiaries because they got the attention with WhatsApp, with Instagram, with Facebook Messenger, with Facebook. It's just ridiculous, guys. So that money's going to move over in a massive way. It's going to push up ad rates for everybody. The little guys that used to be able to place ads on Facebook, you know, for real cheap are going to get flooded out by the Coca-Colas and the Budweisers of the world and you know, the Ford and all the big companies, Apple and Samsung, all those big companies are going to be, you know, pricing everybody else out of the market, and that's just the way it is. No different than television advertising. Turn on a football game, turn on a baseball game, you don't see any little advertisers in there, okay? They're all big, massive companies. That's what's going to end up happening on Facebook, Instagram, and these platforms over time. These big companies are going to wake up and say, wait, we just spent $1 billion on television last year and we got crap for it. Let's spend $1 billion on social this year and watch to see our results. Operating margins, what freaked everybody out in this past quarter. So operating margin dropped to 44% from 47% in the previous year, and this really freaked Wall Street out. They go, whoa, operating margin just fell in a huge way. That's because of this whole Cambridge Analytica situation came out. Facebook's basically, you know, having to hire 10,000 plus employees this year, okay? So what that's doing is this year it's going to make operating margin kind of look bad. Let's just put it that way, or not as good. Operating margin of 44% is still amazing, but it's going to make it look not as good because they're hiring 10,000 plus employees. All those employee costs, it's a lot of money to weigh on the company, okay? But keep in mind, they hire all these 10,000. They're not just going to magically hire, double that next year and another double that the following year or something. What Facebook's going to do, they're going to hire all these employees. It's going to be a huge cost. And then all of a sudden, operating margin is going to start moving up and moving up again because average revenue per user is going to start moving up again. Revenue in general is going to start moving up again. And all of a sudden, the operating, and they're not going to massively hire a bunch more employees. This is a massive year for them hiring employees. It makes operating margin look bad in the short term, but you look at it from a 3 to 5 year perspective, it's going to look really good, guys. It's going to look really good. Net income wise, once again, not a quarter that they were focused around net income and revenue and all that stuff. And look at the number. They did $5.1 billion net income versus the same quarter last year of well under $4 billion, okay? So just massive, okay? Diluted earnings per share of $1.74 versus $1.32 the previous year. And lastly, I love to just keep it off here, which is the unbelievable balance sheet. Well over $40 billion combined between marketable securities and cash equivalents, and not a dime on that balance sheet of debt whatsoever, okay? So when you look at Facebook, it continues to be a growth engine. It's got the world's attention, and just all this money is going to move over to like a tsunami over to the Facebook platforms and Instagram platforms and WhatsApp and all, and Facebook Messenger and all that stuff. All this marketing money is just going to move over like insane over the next 3 to 5 years. It's going to push ad rates up. Average revenue per user is going to look better and better. Profitabilities will continue to explode. They will continue to just add cash onto that balance sheet, marketable securities, which then they can go out and purchase more companies with. Maybe the next Instagram or the next Facebook, they can go out and purchase that, or they can just say, okay, we're going to buy back more shares or start paying dividends. Like, there's so many possibilities for the company. So when I look at Facebook, easiest money in the stock market the next 5 years, bottom line,